Hi everyone, thanks for joining us in this video. Appreciate you clicking on this video. I really do hope you stick with us. Got some important information here for you today. Elizabeth's here with me. She's just going to say a couple of words at the end. We just want to try and get through this as quickly as possible. Today is the 8th of November 2025. First of all, most importantly, I just want to thank everyone that stuck with us and supported our righteous cause for everything that's gone on here at Altnabreck. God bless you. Thank you very much. Also, if I could ask you please to like this video just to help it get it seen, and also if you like, you can subscribe to our channel. Thank you. So this video is very important. We are making this video to preserve our liberty. This video is not being made to bring the Scottish judicial system into disrepute. It is hopefully to prevent it from being brought into disrepute. In releasing this video, we are exercising our human right to freedom of expression, to release information to the public which is of significant public interest. We are allowed to criticise. All we ever wanted was a fair hearing, but the trouble is, they were not playing by their own rules. They forced us into a corner. Now we have no choice but to release this evidence in the public's interest. Okay, so the video you're about to see was actually made around 3 months ago. And to be honest, releasing the video was the last thing that we wanted to do. But now we have no choice but to release the video because we are in court next Tuesday, and they're trying to put us into prison over 2 recordings of 2 separate court hearings that were in Wick Sheriff Court to do with a civil case against Network Rail. Now that case was dismissed, and it was reported far and wide in many newspapers that it was dismissed. We've tried every avenue, and we tried to contact just about everyone with authority in the Scottish judicial system. We've even wrote to the First Minister of Scotland, but all to no avail. We went to court with faith in the court and the judicial system, but we were let down. You're about to hear the hard evidence of this. Now, as if Network Rail didn't feel like they had enough of an advantage against us already using Brodie's, which are Scotland's biggest solicitor firm, against my wife and I, which were representing ourselves as party litigants. But they also needed the sheriff to lie for them and give them assistance and an unfair advantage. We agreed to an undertaking, you see. To put it in a nutshell, we agreed for an interlocutor, also known as a court order, to reflect our words, which were members of the public, to access our land. And Network Rail were definitely not included. This is clearly heard in the recording, and even though Brodie's, Network Rail solicitor, request that this access in the undertaking extend to Network Rail, it was not allowed by the sheriff. However, you hear the sheriff deny his own words to us in the following hearing and said it was us that did not recollect. Well, the recording has it word for word. We were honest and told the truth. For this, we were threatened with contempt of court. So they basically changed the words that came out of our own mouths. They changed the words to what we were asked to agree to. So when the interlocutor, the court order arrived, they changed the words from members of the public to a generic and universal word, pedestrians. You will hear us complain about this to the sheriff in the second hearing. The sheriff says we didn't recollect the previous hearing and that we were misstating the court's decision. And he said that the undertaking we had given included Network Rail, and for Network Rail to access our land, which is not true. After this, Network Rail and Scotrail just used the fabricated interlocutor court order to access our land and used the BTP to enforce it. Here's an image of that interlocutor before I play the video I originally made 3 months ago with the court hearings I'm talking about. The 2 court hearings took place on the 3rd of April 2025 and the one following it, which was the 16th of April 2025. Please listen to the court hearings and compare what was agreed. Now, before we cut over into that video, which was originally made 3 months ago, Elizabeth's just going to say a couple of words to you guys. Thank you very much.
Hi everyone, again thank you very much for supporting us in this. Just to wrap up then, we just want to make it clear that what's happening to us is nothing short of intimidation and an abuse of power by the Scottish judiciary system against us. The Scottish judiciary is abusing contempt powers to try and put us into prison. Why? To cover up the serious wrongdoing of the sheriff involved in our civil action, who is in the recordings that we're about to show you. This is oppression at state level of the worst kind, and I really ask you to share this video and get this information out because it's massively in the public interest. Thank you very much.
Okay guys, so now it's going to go on to the video that I was just talking about, which was originally made 3 months ago. Thank you very much. Hi everyone, thanks for joining us today to watch this video. We appreciate you watching these videos and your support. Now, on the outset, if I can please just ask everyone that's supporting us and everyone that's interested in this story, could you please like this video and share this video, and if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. This video is probably one of the most important videos we have ever made, and full permission is given to download this video and share this video and all of the information that it contains. There's some of the most crucial and important information in this video that we've ever published, and I would also suggest that you maybe get a pen and paper and listen very carefully to the information that you're going to hear in this video. Examine the information and write down what it is you're hearing and compare the 2 lots of information, that the important information we're going to share with you. Please examine them, write them down, and really consider what it is you're hearing. So the thing is, this whole thing that's been going on with this land dispute between me and my wife Elizabeth, who have been party litigants, we've been unrepresented by any solicitors or lawyers in the court. We've been up against Network Rail and Brodie's, who are, I believe, Scotland's biggest solicitors firm. We've been up against them for quite some time now. Now I just want to ask you to ask yourselves this question. Why do you think Network Rail would need to lie in court and have people to lie for them if they were telling the truth about owning the land up here? That we obviously wouldn't have a leg to stand on, especially as party litigants. It would have been over and done with a long time ago. So just ask yourself that question. Why do you think Network Rail and everyone that's working together with them need to lie to try and take and dispossess this land from us? Okay, so Elizabeth is here with me, and we're going to go through some notes, and the information is for your consideration. Okay, all we can do is show you exactly what happened to us. There's a lot of accusations and lies being told about us. Okay, so you make your own judgment, okay? You decide. We've made a decision today to show you the truth of what actually happened. And in a moment, Elizabeth's going to go through some information, and we're going to get started with this video, which hopefully won't be too long, but please stick with us. It's a very important video, just to reiterate.
Hi everyone. Okay, like Ian said, what we've got to share with you today is extremely important, and we've been, just so you know, threatened with arrest and prison for exposing what we're exposing in this video. They're desperate to keep it hidden from the public, what we're about to show you.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you. We have been threatened with arrest and prison for the information that we're going to show you today, which is the truth. We've been threatened with arrest and prison for telling the truth.
That's right. As I said, they're desperate to keep what we're about to show you hidden from the public, to cover up the wrongdoing of what's been going on this land here at Outlenbreck. Okay, we just firstly want to make it clear that we had no intention of publishing this evidence, but we've been left with no choice. Again, we want to make it clear that it's our intention in bringing this information into the public domain to protect the integrity of the Scottish judicial system by exposing what we claim can tend to be serious judicial misconduct and abuse of power within the Scottish judiciary. This is obviously a matter of public concern, and in our view, it's therefore indisputable that this information that we're exposing is in the public interest for us to disclose. Otherwise, it would never come to light what's happening in the Scottish judicial system and within public authorities in Scotland. Again, before deciding to publish this evidence, we have done everything reasonably possible to deal with this situation using the legal channels available to us. But it's our opinion that we're being ignored deliberately by the authorities.
Yeah, well, you've been writing letters to people every single day, day after day, week after week, since this happened. We've tried to reach out. Elizabeth's been writing letters to them, and she's been trying to reach out to them, writing letters every single day.
That's right. We have tried to deal with this reasonably, and again to use the legal channels that have been available to us to manage this situation properly. But unfortunately, we've been pushed into a corner where we've been left with no choice but to release this information so the public knows what's going on here and that they know the truth. What we're about to show you is evidence of a sitting Scottish sheriff lying in his own court to help Network Rail dispossess us from our land. We're going to show you 2 videos of hearings that took place in the civil action we brought against Network Rail in September 2024. And these 2 hearings took place this year on the 3rd of April and the 16th of April. Like I said, after what happened in these hearings, we made every reasonable effort to try and deal with this using the legal channels available to us. On the 21st of May, we wrote to the then Sheriff Principal to make him aware of the allegations that we'd made against the sitting sheriff, and we asked for his help and intervention. The response from him was inadequate, and he refused to help us. We also wrote to the Lord President, which is the senior judge of the Scottish judiciary. We wrote to him on the 9th of June, the 13th of June, the 24th of June and the 4th of July this year to make him aware of the serious allegations that we had made against the sheriff and asked for his intervention. We also lodged a formal complaint with the Judicial Office of Scotland, which is the
governing
body of members of the judiciary, and that was lodged on the 24th of June. But again, we got a wholly inadequate response to the seriousness of our complaint, and they refused to investigate.
It was very avoidance and obstructive, really, it felt like, wasn't it?
That's right. Our experience has been that the authorities, the Scottish judiciary, the Judicial Office of Scotland, have done everything that they can to avoid accountability and to take action against this sheriff.
So on the 23rd of June, we were given an interlocutor from Wick Sheriff Court, and we've been ordained to appear before the court for contempt of court. And this evidence that they are using is the evidence that we gave to the High Court of Judiciary as our evidence against the sheriff in Wick Court, which is hard evidence that has caught him lying in his own court. There's no doubt about it. It's hard evidence. It's there. It was done to prevent the judicial system being brought into utter disrepute. So we're expected to turn up to Wick Sheriff Court, which is a contempt of court hearing. Although on the court rolls, they are trying to cover it and veneer it to make it look like a Network Rail case, which was dismissed, which a lot of you know. So that case was dismissed a while ago. But on the court rolls, they're trying to make it look like it's a civil hearing. It's like it's a civil hearing, which it is not. Okay, so that's a little bit, underhanded there as well, isn't it? It's enough more procedural abuse, isn't it, we think, really?
Well, that's right.
Because it's listed in Network Rail and Brodie's in the court rolls, which it's nothing to do. That case has been dismissed, hasn't it, Liz?
That's right. It's in our view, it's intentionally misleading to the public because on the court rolls, as Ian said, it's published as a hearing in the dismissed civil action with Network Rail, making it out to the public as though it's a civil hearing, when in fact it's a contempt hearing that's been brought against me and Ian in relation to our evidence against the sheriff. Yeah,
so we've been threatened with arrest and contempt of court and prison because we caught a sheriff lying in his own court, and we have the hard evidence of that, and that is what is going on, which is ludicrous.
So what we contend is happening here is a serious abuse of judicial power, in that there's a misuse of the contempt powers in order to suppress evidence against this sheriff. So they're misusing the contempt laws to protect the wrongdoing of the sheriff, and that is wrong. It goes against the rule of law. It's unjust.
Yeah, that's right.
And nobody's helping us because they're enabling this to happen, and they're ignoring all our letters. And the most recent letter that we've written, we've escalated it to the First Minister of Scotland.
That's right.
And we're awaiting a response from him to help in this situation.
So we're waiting. Okay, everyone. So you're about to hear the actual hearing now with the sheriff. What he said, what he got us to agree to. He asked us to take an undertaking. The words are very specific, and you will hear the solicitor of Network Rail during this hearing try and request that our undertaking or our agreement should also extend to ScotRail or Network Rail, but that was not allowed. So I'm not gonna tell you guys what it's all about. I'm gonna let you listen, get your pen and paper, write it down, and at the end of the clip, we'll come back to you and we'll just quickly go through what was agreed, and hopefully we'll be able to establish what is really going on here and establish the truth of what was said. Okay.
But my lord, whether that... Sorry.
If I can put it this way, it is open to me to indicate that the public on foot should be allowed access to Alton-le-Brec station over the cattle grid and straight on past the driveway past your house. Now, I am well aware that the driveway past your house is the main contentious issue here, and there is going to be confrontation in this case, but I'm looking to avoid unnecessary confrontation. But I am perfectly willing to make a ruling saying that the public have the right to walk over the cattle grid, walk along the driveway, straight along the driveway to Alton-le-Brec station. I can do that, but I don't want to. What I want to do is frame a court order that allows them over the cattle grid and immediately turn right onto the newly constructed footpath, and that takes them onto Alton-le-Brec railway station without going along the driveway at the side of your house. And that, if you're agreeable to that, that's what I'll indicate. If you're not agreeable to that, we can continue the argument.
My lord, could I just say that the cattle grid is for vehicle use? The next to the cattle grid, on the right-hand side, is a footpath with a pedestrian gate. So obviously it's more suitable for that.
Does the footpath, is the gate locked or unlocked?
It's unlocked.
It's unlocked, my lord. We've always welcomed members of the public previously.
Well, let me finish. Once you're through the grate, I presume the footpath goes parallel and to the right of the track, and thereafter turns right where the new footpath is.
That's correct, my lord, but that's disputed land. It's the true ownership of that land hasn't been decided by the court, and that's what our major concern is why the court doesn't deem it appropriate to postpone, considers it appropriate for the station to reopen until the end of the proceedings, and then all this could be avoided.
And that would be establishing a new public right-of-way, my lord, if that were to be used, which is not the established one.
Yeah, we don't have any issues with the driveway being used, my lord, but clearly the matter is that a path has been built on land that we claim we own, and it's for the court to decide the true ownership. Otherwise, the defenders treating the land as their own before the court's made the decision, my lord.
My lord, we'd rather the established right-of-way be used rather than create a new one.
Well, what is the established right-of-way in your submission?
Previously it's always been via the side gate, my lord, and travelling northwards over our driveway, which we've never ever prevented members of the public from doing, my lord.
My lord.
Let me finish, Mr. Lynn. The establishment of a public right-of-way has no bearing whatsoever on land ownership. You can rest assured about that. These are entirely separate things. If you're telling me that you have no difficulty with the public on foot accessing a right-of-way along the driveway straight on onto the railway platform, that is what will happen.
That's always been, from what I understand, and we've also got a map from Scotways, the catalogue for the route. That is the established. It's northwards over our driveway, so the defender never needed to build the path because we were never preventing the public from using it, my lord.
Well, refer back to what I said at the start of this. Remember, this is not a chat online; it's a court. Can I take it that I have an undertaking from you, Mr. Appleby, and you, Miss Howe, that you will not stop pedestrian access by members of public over what you describe as the established right of way straight along the track and to the railway platform. Is that correct?
We never have them, my lord, and we always welcome them, and if they want, they can have a cup of tea.
My lord.
Well, I have that undertaken. It is an undertaking for the moment. I think your concern was presumably people getting off the train at Alnabreck and having nowhere to go. Now,
There's two concerns, my lord. So the first one is the pursuers say that they've never taken any objection with the exercise of the right of way, but they have consistently attempted to prevent the defender and Scotrail, and I should just clarify that Scotrail is the defender's tenant, which is the tenant of the station. It is
Can I
not an
interrupt
agent of the
you?
defender. Sure.
Mr. Danny, what you started asking me for was to sort out the situation of people getting on and off the train, and that is what the immediate concern is. And that has, frankly, at this stage, I don't care about whatever difficulties there may have been with the public accessing Alnabreck railway station in the past. What I have is an undertaking from Mr. Appleby, and Ms. Howe, that they accept that there's a public right-of-way straight along the driveway. Everything else is contentious, Mr. Danny, and it will, I suspect, be ultimately decided in court sooner rather than later.
Yes, my lord, but I wonder if the undertaking could expressly state that the pedestrian right of access extends to the defender.
We object
and
to that.
Well, no, you can't object. If the defender chooses, if employees of the defender choose to exercise a public right on a public right of way on foot,
It's not for commercial use,
It's not
then, my
for
lord.
A public right of way, my lord, is for a specific use, and it's to allow members of the public to get from place A to B. It's not for commercial use, to enable commercial workers to go to travel to a route, to build, to do maintenance, to undertake works. That will be outside the proper use of a public right of way.
But we're
Lord.
willing to resolve matters.
But
We are willing to resolve
We
matters,
always
my
want
lord.
to resolve matters with the defender, my lord.
for the moment, members of the public can walk back and forth on your driveway to access the platform.
We welcome them back, my lord.
We do, my lord, yeah.
Other matters for the moment, Ms. Soldani, will require to be reserved. Now, Ms. Soldani, when the case last called some 2 months ago, you'd indicated that
Okay, guys, so as you would have just heard in the hearing that you just listened to, we were discussing the right of way, the footpath, the pedestrian footpath right of way that leads up to the station, and also you would have heard the cattle grid mentioned in that hearing. So also you would have heard me discuss with the sheriff that this public footpath right of way is not for commercial use, and it was not for Network Rail or their contractors to use for commercial use, and he did not disagree with that. Also, you would have heard Network Rail solicitor try and request that this access extend to them, and that was denied. That request was denied, wasn't it, Liz?
That's right. The sheriff refused Network Rail solicitor's request to include Network Rail employees in the undertaking, and he did say to her that that matter would be reserved, which meant dealt with another time.
That's it. And it was covered quite extensively, wasn't it? The discussion over the access, who could use it, and it all revolved around the members of the public were the ones that were, allowed to use it, and the undertaking was for them, wasn't it? The undertaking was for them to use it, and that was what was agreed, and it was denied clearly. No doubt about it. The Network Rail were denied the use of this pedestrian public footpath. So then we received the interlocutor, didn't we, Liz?
Yep, so after the hearing, we got the interlocutor issued to us, and when we read it, we were shocked to see that the undertaking we had given to the court, the words had been changed, and the interlocutor gave our undertaking as this: the pursuers gave an undertaking to the court that they will not prevent pedestrians using the established right of way to and from the railway platform. Okay, so what the court had done is that they replace the words members of the public for the word pedestrians. And it's our contention that that was a deliberate change to include Network Rail and Scotrail employees in our undertaking when that was not agreed in the hearing.
Yeah, and it was the members of the public were discussed as well. You would have heard the sheriff say members of the public coming off the train as well, wasn't it, Liz? There was no misunderstanding at all, was there?
There was none whatsoever. The undertaking in the hearing was clearly in relation to members of the public only getting on and off the train.
That's it. Okay, so when we got that interlocutor, which was not what we agreed, that's for sure, and the wording was just too wide open. We had a feeling, didn't we, Liz, that that it was they were going to try and exploit that, which they did. We tried to contact the court by email to get it changed, but we didn't hear back from them, did we?
We didn't get a response for a week, so we had no choice but to lodge a motion to formally request an amendment of the interlocutor.
So then we lodged the motion, and the next hearing you're about to hear is the outcome of that motion, and you will hear the sheriff completely go back on what he said, what he agreed to, and I'll let you guys listen to that now, and you'll see exactly what we mean. And also, as you are here at the start of the audio, the court hearing, you'll clearly hear that Elizabeth and myself requested, in the interest of transparency, in the interest of public interest, that the hearing be recorded. And he didn't even battle an eyelid before he just said no straight away. So what? You can see why. Because when there's lies being told, it's obvious they don't want it recorded. What are we supposed to do? What's any innocent person supposed to do when they're looking for justice in court? It should be right and fair. If you ask for it to be recorded, it should be recorded. We shouldn't be put into positions like this.
Where are we here?
My lord, can I just clarify something before we go on, to avoid any misunderstanding?
Yes.
My lord, just to make it clear for the court, before we start, because the hearing's already started, as you're aware, my lord, this case has attracted significant public interest, and on that basis we now make the pursuers a verbal motion to the court that this hearing and all future hearings in these proceedings are digitally recorded in the interests of transparency, openness and fairness, and to ensure the integrity of the proceedings are protected. That's our motion, my lord.
Thank you. Motion refused. The matter's been addressed already. Now,
my lord, sorry, and just to clarify...
Now, don't interrupt me.
It's just...
You've already interrupted me to make the motion, and I allowed the interruption. Now, I'm going to start at the beginning again. If you want me to, I will allow you to withdraw the undertaking now.
My lord, we don't wish to do that. We wish to withdraw part 1, and this motion we seek to address the amendment of the interlocutor to reflect the accurate wording of the terms that were agreed. We are happy to stand by the undertaking, but what we seek the court to do today is to correct the error that has been made in the wording of that interlocutor, to correctly reflect what was agreed by us and accepted by you, my lord. We withdraw part 1 of our motion and we proceed to part 2 to amend the interlocutor forthwith, my lord.
Ms. Howe, what was agreed was to allow unrestricted access to all pedestrians. Now, if your recollection is different, you will be obliged to withdraw the undertaking. And can I also refer you to paragraph 23 of your condescendence of your initial writ as now recorded in the closed record. And I quote, pedestrian only right of way over the first pursuer's land which leads to the station which is accessed by the side gate. Your stated position in the record, and based on the initial right lodged by you, is that there is pedestrian right over the disputed land to the railway station.
For members of the public, my lord, and our recollection of that hearing is somewhat different, and we would ask the court to allow us to make our submissions of what was agreed in that hearing. My
Ms.
lord,
Howe,
we
Ms. Howe,
it was members of the public
It's
only,
member of the public, my lord.
and that word has been omitted, my lord, and that's the error in the interlocuter that has led to a situation that has been exploited by the defender and Scotrail. The word pedestrians, my lord, was included, but it was pedestrian members of the public. That was the words agreed to, my lord, in which you accepted, my lord.
Members of the public includes employees of Network Rail. Now, if you don't accept that, you withdraw the undertaking.
Do you want me to?
My lord, just with regard to this point that we're on, we all recollect in the hearing that Miss request to you to include the defender's workers and Scotrail in the undertaking, and you rejected that, my lord. So therefore, the undertaking did not include.
Miss Howe, I will interrupt you now because you're misstating the court's position. I did not exclude employees of Network Rail. Can I take it that I have an undertaking from you, Mr. Appleby, and you, Miss Howe, that you will not stop pedestrian access by members of public over what you describe as the established right of way straight along the track and to the railway platform. Is that correct?
We never have them, my lord, and we always welcome them, and if they want, they can have a cup of tea.
Oh, Lord.
So well, I have that undertaking, Miss. Presumably, people getting off the train at Altnabreg and having nowhere to go. Now,
There's two concerns, my lord. So the first one is the pursuers say that they've never taken any objection with the exercise of the right of way, but they have consistently attempted to prevent the defender and Scotrail, and I should just clarify that Scotrail is the defender's tenant, which is the tenant of the station. It is not an agent of the defender.
What you started asking me for was to sort out the situation of people getting on and off the train, and that is what the immediate concern is. And that has, frankly, at this stage, I don't care about whatever difficulties there may have been with the public accessing Altnabreg railway station in the past. What I have is an undertaking from Mr. Appleby and Ms. Howe that they accept that there's a public right-of-way straight along the driveway. Everything else is contentious, I suspect, be ultimately decided in court sooner rather than later.
Yes, my lord, but I wonder if the undertaking could expressly state that the pedestrian right of access extends to the defender.
We object to that.
Well, no, you can't object. If the defender chooses, if employees of the defender choose to exercise a public right on a public right of way on foot.
It's not for commercial use, then, my lord.
A public right of way, my lord, is for a specific use, and it's to allow members of the public to get from place A to B. It's not for commercial use to enable commercial workers to go to travel to a route, to build, to do maintenance, to undertake works. That will be outside the proper use of a public right of way.
But we're willing to resolve matters. We are willing to resolve
we
matters.
We always want to resolve matters with the defender, my lord.
For the moment, members of the public can walk back and forth on your driveway to access the platform.
We welcome them back, my lord.
We do, my lord, yeah.
Other matters for the moment, Danny, will require to be reserved. Now,
Okay, everyone, so as you would have just seen and heard in the court hearing, we were basically tricked into taking an undertaking. We agreed for members of the public. That was the undertaking that we agreed to. Then for us to attend the next hearing, basically, and for us to be told that no, you agreed for Network Rail, which was not the case. That was a lie. That was a sitting sheriff lying in his own court. Do you have anything to add, Elizabeth?
No, really, that was just what we wanted to share with you, was the evidence that shows the sheriff lying in his own court to help Network Rail gain unfettered access and control over our land. And it was important that we shared that with you because they're trying their best to try and cover this up. And that is the evidence that is now being used against us in the contempt proceedings that the same sheriff has brought against us. I hope you can all see what's really going on here.
Thanks for watching, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.